Hello, and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. I am Paula Denoncourt, your host, founder, and CEO of Enrich Your Health. I am a holistic health consultant. I help my clients stop living a life of pain and suffering, and I do that through um, dietary tips, special recipes. I myself suffered from multiple food allergies, so I decided that I could help people that have to eat gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, nut-free, or even low sugar. And this way, this eliminates or reduces some of their pain in their body by eating healthier options for their in their diet. So I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, speaking engagements, and now my own TV show. So if you're out there and you're like, you just don't know what to eat because you need to eat gluten free and have a lot of joint pain or always bloated, I can help you with that. So please reach out to me. You can reach out to me at info@enrichyourhealth.com. And that's with an ENRICHURHALTH.com. You can text me and we'll set something up, 508-330-9665, or you can get me on Instagram Messenger, Facebook Messenger, under my name, Paula Denoncourt. I started this show because I've helped a lot in the Lyme disease community. I've helped a lot with people with food allergies. And I've just met so many people with illnesses and things that are going on that their stories need to get out there. They need to be heard. So if you've never seen my show, please go back and watch some of the replays. I've had things like congestive heart failure, mold toxicity, autoimmune illnesses, cancer, you name it. We've had lots and lots of people on. So I am looking for more guests. I'm looking for sponsors for the show. And I also do the business spotlight. So if you're looking to advertise your business, please reach out to me at the places I just mentioned. So don't want to keep talking about me. Once again, I'm just looking for more sponsors and guests to be on the show. So you could be a mom, a partner, a doctor, nurse, practitioner. I'm looking to partner with you as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guest tonight. I'm really, really excited about Dr. Renee. I was on her show a while back. And she's got some amazing things that she's doing in her business and introducing out into the world. So I'm excited to just partner with her and talk about some of these things that she's doing, because this is just mind-blowing. I'm excited for this. So let me tell you about her. This is Dr. Renee Sunday. She's a board-certified anesthesiologist with over 25 years of experience. She's been recognized as one of the top 100 anesthesiologists in the United States. That alone is incredible. I just want people to just realize that. The top 100 out of every state in the United States. That's incredible. She is also a certified digital marketer and media personality, hosting the Good Deeds TV show. Dr. Sunday is the founder of Little Kids Corner, an engaging platform for children's health education, and the Champion Series, a collection of books addressing social issues and building emotional resilience. Her work empowers children and supports families through education and storytelling. Welcome, Dr. Renee. Thank you for being on tonight.
Well, I'm so excited, Paula, to be here. I was wondering, I'm like, who's she talking about? But thank you for the warm introduction.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up. Do you have family? Tell us just a little bit of your background, and then
Oh,
we'll talk
wow.
about what you've been doing.
Well, that's you don't you don't put a preacher and a person last name Sunday to talk about a lot. I'll make it short and interesting. I grew up in, as you can tell, you can hear my southern twang. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. To the loving, both of my parents are in heaven now, Mr. And Mrs. William Sunday. My mom's name is Rosetta. They were born, as you can imagine, during the civil rights time in Birmingham. My dad was really on the team with Dr. Martin Luther King, and my mom was part of the, if you remember, the bus boycott. So it's so interesting. My dad was baptized on the under the Selma Bridge that so many people may can read and remember the Selma movie that Oprah produced. But so with that being said, you know, I grew up in a solid, and you know what I mean, solid Christian background. I remember as a child going to church literally every day, even on Saturday, because we had to, you know, guess what, clean the church for Sunday. So
Mm,
I don't remember, Paula, and my that it was bad. I just knew that was the stage, that was the calling. If, as we find out as we continue to talk, that I was born to do. And so I, you know, went to public school. People don't, you know, they, you know, the public school, blessed, we praying for them, right? I went through the public system, but my parents did not play. Okay, my mom and dad was at the school literally, not because I was doing bad things, but you know, a couple times I did. But just to be involved. Gratefully, I pretty much knew a lot going into kindergarten, first grade, how to write my name, how to, you know, call what we, you know, back then it was the rotary phone. I'm not that old, okay? But 911, you know, I knew how to stand up for myself because my parents knew. Even Sunday, that's my real name, not my stage name. They knew that I would get, you know, people saying good, bad, and indifferent things about my last name. So they kind of got me ready for.
mm,
But fast forward, I did go through bullying, and we're gonna talk probably more about that later.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
in my, let me see, I think it was a little bit in the fifth grade, but the seventh grade, you know, that's middle school as we call it now. It's a middle school, but
Mm,
elementary school, that was very pivotal in my life. That I really had to hone in on what my parents, you know, now I can say that, but as a child, and my identity of who I really am and what I represent in the world. And so fast forward on that, I was that nagging sister. My sister's 4 years older. I was wherever she went, I went. And you know, it probably wasn't good for her. But back, you know, I was the one that talked a lot, and so I would tell everything. You know, don't do that on your sister. But that's what I was, and
mm,
which she instilled in me so many great values. So I follow her steps. She's a family practice physician in Birmingham, Alabama, and that gave me to spark that I'm a board certified anesthesiologist, as you mentioned. Uh, over 20, you know, 25 years, and I love it. I love being part
mm,
of God's plan, healing plan, and just helping people relax. A lot of patients glean when I say Sunday because they're like, oh my God, your last name really is Sunday. And so they feel
right.
they feel like they are safe, because that was the main reason I went into anesthesia, because I really want people to relax. I know it's a stressful time, it's a nervous time, but I want
Mm.
to be part of that, really that beacon of light that to let people know it's going to be all right.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I mean, who would have thought just doing anesthesiology, that could be a hard word to say, that it would just be something that would just help relax people and God would use you just to do that. You know, who would have thought, you know, not
Mm-hmm.
something you really think about, but God can use us anywhere, you know? So yeah, definitely. So that's awesome. So, and what state are you in now? Where are you
Oh,
located?
I'm in Atlanta, hot Atlanta, as people call it, Atlanta. You know, people say good and bad about Atlanta, but I, you know, the traffic, you know, being in the, you know, healthcare, I get there very early, so I usually dodge it in the morning. And then the
Mm,
evening, yes, it's traffic. But you know what, Paula, I have taken it to another level. That's when I actually can, worship. I can praise. I can.
mm.
People probably wonder who else in the car. They be saying, "This woman, all right," because that's my downtime, my meditation time, audible book. I look, listen to my books and so many
Right.
other things
Right.
that I can do. Of course, paying attention, to driving, but a lot of times I can just do those things instead of focusing on how bad the traffic is.
That's amazing. I always talk about stuff like that. Like we need to learn to perceive things a little differently sometimes. And I hope people that are listening, because right now what I've been noticing, I wear a couple different hats. Yes, I'm a health coach. I also offer business funding. But I also have to pay the bills. So I work full time answering phones for grocery stores. And what I've been noticing, people are getting more and more angry. They're getting more and more stressed. They're getting more, um, and it's hard to crack that. So when you say that, like even sitting in traffic, I'm sure people are, getting more and more stressed and angry, even in traffic. So I hope people are listening and that gives them another perception of when they're sitting in traffic. Like, they could listen to a book on audio, or they could, you know, pray and worship and, there's other things instead of just getting angry. So I'm glad you mentioned that because it's another way to take care of our mental health, right?
Mhm.
And even answering phones at grocery stores, if you're out there listening, before you complain about something or, whatever, somebody, think about, give it another perception. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, sometimes people get mad that the cashier won't take them because they only had two items. Well, what if five people in front of you also had only two items and they've got to cut it somewhere? They're not going to
Mhm.
get paid overtime. They've got to leave. You're that last fifth person that they've got to cut it. It's not anything like they're trying to be mean or rude. They just have to stop somewhere. Or maybe that person hasn't had their break yet and their back is killing them. Give it another perception if you're going to complain. And I'm not even talking about just grocery stores, just in general, in all these stores, Walmart, whatever. Stop the anger and try to look at things differently. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because you kind of reminded me of it. So thank you for that. And it's better for all of us, our own mental health, our own stress levels, because now you're not just thinking of yourself, why me? Why are they picking on me? Whatever. That person might be going through something, or maybe they work in 80 hours a week. A lot of times, and I'll just say this and then we'll move on. I also hear, well, they should just get another job. Well, it might not be that easy. I mean, maybe they're trying to get another job, but they just can't get hired anywhere else. Maybe they're older and it's hard to get another job. So I just wanted to put that out there, just kind of have some compassion with people. There's a lot going on. People trying to work two, three jobs because they're trying to make that paycheck, whether it's traffic, whatever. Find other ways to look at it. So thank you for that. So let's talk about some other things. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind creating Little Kids Corner and the Champion Series. I am so excited for this. So tell us from square one what it is, what it means, what are you doing?
And thank you, Paula. It's so funny because I do need to let your audience know I don't have any birth kids, but I have literally now and counting 25, and I say 25 God kids. it's um it's so ironic you talk about Walmart. I have been in Walmart several times and kids just come up to me and I have to reassure the parents quickly because you know how is the way the world is. I
Right.
promise I didn't entice them, I didn't say anything, and then that sparks a conversation with the parents. They said they don't go to anybody. I said, well, I promise I'm not doing anything, but
Right.
in mind, it's kind of dangerous. It's not but it is dangerous out here. And then they spark a conversation. You are pretty nice person. So it's kind of
Aw.
funny. And then of course, they find out who I am, and I talk to them, and it ends up being develop actually several of them into a great relationship. And so, so I just had to do that little backstory to let you know, I don't have kids, but I mean, my house literally usually have at this point now several kids, and they bring their pets now. So at one
Oh
time,
my
I
goodness.
had, I had a gecko, which I'm kind of nervous about, a bird, and a cat and a dog in the same. But they got along. I'm so glad they got along. It was funny. So anyway, so they they come and hang out, and so one day, me and my sister was talking because I gleaned from parents and educators that around kids. And she was making a conversation. My nephew at that time was about to turn 21. And I was just saying, but what was so, the difficult or the challenges or the issues that her and her husband had raising their kid? And it's, one girl, and then my niece, my niece, of course, a girl. So I was like, y'all got, perspective, right? On boy and girl. And she was saying that they didn't want to brush their teeth at times. She had to really get on them about that, the boy more than the girl. And then making their bed, and just really identity, saying that they are different, what I'm saying, that it's okay to be different, and then just really knowing who they are. And so that got me to thinking, Paula, I talked to my mom at that time, and she said the same thing with me and my sister and my brother, and I'm like, wow, this is something. So I took a nap kind of right after I talked to my mom, Paula, and then I got up with that great revelation. I should
Oh
write
wow.
about these things, and see where God takes it. And that sparked the first series that I mean, Sam the Shark. I had to say that first. That whole brand came from that, and he has his own brand, his own team. I mean, he's at the aquarium, he has a birthday party, all those type of things. And now
Wow.
he's in the school, and he has his own curriculum. Then Sam the Shark, and he has his own literal costume. Well, that's been out there for a while. So I really, being around my god kids, I said, wait a minute, it's so many issues in the world. We know what happened in 2020. We don't have to even,
Mhm.
and being at home a lot, a lot of the kids and the parents, grandparents, whoever's raising them, were having a lot of concerns and really difficult to explaining what's going on. What is these social issues in this world? And how do you explain it to someone, to a child that's 3, especially 3 to 10? Those ages are, it's hard to explain things. And so I really meditated. I mean, that's where I get all my juju from, okay? And juju is, and just so your audience know, that's just the creative ideas, the innovations that God has allowed me to bring to the world. And that's how the champion series, because really we all are champions. We
Mm.
all. And I want to instill that in the kids, and it's 11 books, literally.
Uh,
And 11 different books. Let me make sure I say that correctly. And it's a series really showing the kids that they are champion, number one. And the other different things we want to bring out, the social issues. I mean, going through, it's, because a lot of kids think they're the reason that their parents get a divorce. They feel like they the one that, it's arguments in the family.
mm,
And then that affects their identity. That affects
right.
their self-esteem. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I did go through bullying. It was because of my name. People would kid me, and you would think that would be a good name, that people, but they would kid me about my name, saying different things. And then also it got to another level in the 7th grade. Then I tried to be a bad girl. I want to be a bad girl, and my dad's a deacon in many years, and my mom
Oh
married.
no.
Right. So this bullying is a real thing. And now social media and our wonderful phones have taken it to another level. So I want to be really a beacon of light for the parents, and really bring together storytelling and also kind of weave in the fun, and so people to know how to really talk to their kids about the social issues. So that's kind of where that came from. And
Yeah.
so we're so excited about it. One thing we did mention, I am an AI consultant for artificial intelligence. So I want to let the audience know you can literally create whatever you want in a good way,
Right.
quickly. And so I was able to really get the idea together, and really my team kind of executed it, and it just came a beautiful flower developing, so we could help our kids, help our parents, and our educators with, our kids, because they can, some of the stuff we don't understand as an adult, Paula. And so we want to kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
go in a clean way, number one, and then number two, on their level.
Right. Yeah, I want to go back a little bit. You talk about bullying. I was bullied too. I was bullied too. They made fun of my name. My last name is Denoncourt. They used to say stuff like, I'm Paula Denoncourt. I'm made for a tennis court. Like,
Wow.
it would rhyme. I think my sister, they used to say, because the last part of it was court. My sister, they used to say, here comes the judge. So they made fun of our last name. Kids make fun, but I was bullied a lot because I was shy. That they used to think I was like stuck up because I was shy. I wasn't stuck up. I was just afraid of my own shadow. So I either hung out with some of the cool kids or I hung out with some of the not so cool kids. I kind of tossed between the two. Like I never really stayed with one group. And I'm kind of glad because like some of the people that were in the cool group, they just stayed like in Massachusetts. They said what I said they were going to do. They got married, they had kids, they stayed in the same state, the same town area. They didn't go anywhere. Not that it's a bad thing, but I always knew that. Like I was like, I want to go places, and so yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it kind of was like that. I was in the middle. I didn't stick with one group, but bullying, I don't condone it because today it's so bad that some kids are killing themselves over it. It's terrible. And I almost did too, to be honest. I was kind of suicidal at one point myself because it was just, I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But I'm so thankful that God pulled me through it and it made me stronger. I'm not saying I condone it, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing so you can help kids understand it and develop a way to cope with it, I guess we could say, because it's not the easiest thing. I mean, no kid's going to look at it and say 10 years from now, I'm going to be stronger because of this. You're not,
Right.
you're just not. I'm thankful it did make me stronger, because who would have thought this shy little country girl, country bumpkin from Massachusetts would have, had her own TV show or traveled the whole United States or, all of that. So yeah. And one other thing I want to say about bullying, and then I'll let you talk more about your program. A lot of times it's not about you. It's about them. Read the book. One thing that really helped me is the book, The Four Agreements. That really helped me because, and I don't know if you've read it, because it really talks about how it's about them being insecure. Like it just makes them feel better to look down on somebody because now they feel like they're better than you, or it's kind of a curse, So read the book, The Four Agreements. That's really helpful too, like in understanding where people come from. It's about them. They're insecure. They want to feel powerful. They want to feel control. So it's not easy to be bullied, but I'm thankful it strengthened me. But today it's a lot harder because at least, even though it was escape but not escape, when we grew up, like you say, I had the rotary phone too, 56. I don't mind saying it. You'd go home and yes, you had it in your mind what happened during the day, but now look at these kids go home. They can get text messages that bully them. They can get social media that bullies them, Facebook, whatever. It's like no escape. Like, how
Mhm.
do they, you know what I mean? So I understand it. I'm thankful that at least I could go home and I didn't have to like turn on Facebook or something and see more bullying. And after I left, the most that would happen to me was I just didn't want to go the next day.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to go to school. But so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more. How does Riddle Kids Corner make learning about health and wellness fun for children and even
Yeah.
bullying or any of that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you bring that up now. What stemmed from the book series is actually the YouTube platform, and that's the we call it Riddle Kids Corner. Sometimes
Hmm.
a lot of the kids just say Kids Corner, and I'm like, that's fine, whatever. And so
Right.
what we end up doing is we infused into the riddles, the quizzes, the questions on the video and made them fun. Of course, a fun lyrics goes with it. It's always somebody kind of dancing or kind of, some type of animation, but they actually is learning at the same time.
Right.
So and if you think about if you and I talk to a lot of teachers and parents that's homeschooling, and the one thing that stands out is they when they have an exercise or some kind of fun activity, they've noticed that kids comprehend it more, and that's kind of
Right.
like we are adults. Because I can remember back even in how I studied in high school is totally different how I studied in college and the whole
Yeah.
different in medical school. And so that's what we have to be for our kids, make it fun, make it laughter. And I want to say this real quick in there. We don't know what environment our kids are coming from.
Right.
So this may be the first time they actually feel good about themselves. Maybe the first time that they actually can have a smile, someone that feels like they care. I even had that from a oh God, I can't remember. Of course, not HIPAA violation, but I remember even a patient on yesterday. She was in her 70s, and she said, "You really do care," and I was like, "Wow, yes, I do." So
Right.
we need to instill that at every age, but of course, our kids need to know their value. They need to know that
Right.
they matter, and they wasn't quote a mistake. I can even go back real quickly. Back in the day, they didn't do these ultrasounds that you knew what the child was. My
Mm.
parents was prepared for a boy, and then boom, here comes a girl. So my parents really had to name me on the spot. Okay. Because people always
Mm.
say, what's your middle name? Well, I don't have a middle name.
Oh, wow.
You're right, right. And so that was fine with me, I was a baby. But kids may have heard over her because back then we would go in the room, we wouldn't be trying to hear what mom and dad or somebody in the other room, but these kids, one, they stay in the room when
Mm.
adult conversation, and number two, they eavesdropping, and so they may have heard some words that wasn't nice about them, and so we want to make it have fun because a lot of time, as you say, as we come home, our kids, guess what? They on the iPad, they on their phone, and the way the world is now, you can't be judgmental. And I've heard so many people say, why the child got a phone? Well, there's so much going on in the school. They need to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And you have to teach them, what to do and what not to do. But the point I'm trying to say is at least they can have that pause time. They can have that laugher time that they can laugh
Mm.
about different videos, and then they gonna learn something. They can learn something about art. We have everything in there from art because I love art. Think about art. Of
Yeah.
course, the things they need to know about school, the regular subjects. We're gonna do that. We have that as well. But things that's going on in nature because that's one of my things that I do with self-care. I love nature. So we try to instill the things that I can look back, and of course the team and the board that can look back, that has helped them, and of course that's helping their kids, and we want to share that with the world so we can help, what they say, one child at a time, but we want to be able to be that
Right.
that help to the parents. help to the grandparents or whoever is taking care of the kids. And of course, our educators, because I talk to teachers, as I mentioned, and a lot of them are burnt out. And we
I,
need to be able to help them in their journey with our children.
yeah, I can imagine. And can you imagine like growing up as a kid in today's society with so much that's going on in the world? You know, there's so much violence all the time. I mean, we're on the brink of war here and there. There's so much going on. I can't even imagine. Like I said earlier, I mean, I was bullied. That was like the biggest deal. You know what I mean? Like, not only might they be getting bullied, but they're looking out, looking at the TV all the time with all this craziness going in their head. You know, it could be a very negative environment. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so they
Mm-hmm.
need something to make things more fun. And I'm sure the schools aren't doing that much to make it fun because they have a curriculum they have to follow. You know, so I commend you for doing what you're doing. I think it's amazing. I think, you said you're in the top 100 for anesthesiology. Well, I think something like this is going to be top notch too, because it's so needed. It's so needed. And the other thing is too, I've helped a lot in the Lyme disease community. There's a lot of kids out there that have mental health issues because they have an autoimmune disorder. People don't even realize that, so you could have, we talked about health and wellness, probably general health and wellness, but even having some kind of, what's the word I want, curriculum for people with autoimmune issues, kids that they could relate to, like, oh, okay, it's not just me dealing with that, with this, like I had a friend who had a son, I don't know how old he started with it, but he had Lyme disease and he had a motor-tic disorder. So imagine having some kind of, I don't know, coloring book about that, or, video about that, you know what I mean? And making it more lighthearted and just making kids realize they're not alone. There's other kids out there that have that. So I don't know if that's part of your curriculum yet, but it's something you could think about, or start talking about kids that have autoimmune issues that, whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great idea.
yep, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of kids out there. People think that it's just something wrong with their kid, but it's really a physical illness. Their mental health is because there's something going on in their body.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. It's happening a lot. So let's talk about that. That kind of leads to the next question. What kind of social issues does the Champion series address? And well, we talked about why it's important, but let's talk about each issue that you are addressing as of right now.
Well, that's a great question. We talk about divorce, and as I mentioned, a lot of kids think that they're the problem. They say,
Right.
"Mommy, why daddy's not here, or why mom's not here?" So they think they're the problem. We want to make sure that they realize that they're not the problem. Okay.
Right.
So that's one of the books. Another book is really talking about identity with the bullying, and then you tap right on in it when you said earlier about the 4 agreements. We do share it in a I like the word you say, in a light way, but we
Right.
share we do it with a tree. We don't do all the books is maybe something in nature that shows it, or we even have one that talks about a book bag that has magic. So basically, with the magic that's in the book bag, is identifying your superpower, so the kids can
Right.
realize what they're great at, and which is kind of hard to know as a child, but some kids do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then we address the kids. It's so much we love the how can I'm gonna be real delicate. The fast food restaurant, yes, they have a place, but we want to instill in them also the things about nutrition. So we talk
Right.
about that. We talk about hygiene and how important that is, because you want to develop that, right, early as possible. And then we talk about I may have mentioned this, but just how it's okay to be different. You may believe something different than me, but we all can still be friends and live on this, live in, in the United States, live wherever you are. You can live on this earth and still have different beliefs. You could
Yep.
have different ways that you dress. You can have different, of course, complexities, ethnicities, different things, but it's okay. We can still be great friends. We can still have express our opinion, and we wanted to kind of get that out there, kind of in the young, because a lot we learn. What they say, you learn everything really about yourself by 7 years old. So I know we kind of in that range group. So we want to help the parents with that. And then also the main thing in all of the books, Paula, is self-esteem. And
Mm-hmm.
because that's what stemmed for me and my bullying. My self-esteem was shot. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't know it. I can look back on that. I didn't know what that was. My parents, my mom just really went in. I mean, she actually stopped work for a while, gratefully that she was able to do that, to really pour into me. And of course, it was my brother and sister as well, because that it affects the whole family. That's what I'm trying to say. So no
Mm.
matter if you're a single mom, single parent, grandparents, no matter whatever your family unit, you have to work together. So we do make sure we talk about that. And we in the United States, especially, it's so much opportunity, but we want to let the kids know no matter where they are, they could have great opportunity, for
Mm.
education, or if they want to do a trade, if they want to, be part of the military of the, of their country, whatever they want to do. And we make it seem like it's a blossoming flower that's inside of them.
Uh,
And so,
yeah.
so we
I love.
actually do that. The great thing that I great, and my team suggested this, and I love how they did this. That most of the books, as I mentioned, like the tree, one of them's a tree, one of them's a book bag, and one of them is different things that we can actually instill to the world to let them know that they are a champion.
That's awesome. And it, kind of reminds me of a show I did with another person back in Massachusetts. She ran a show, and we talked about cyberbullying. When you talk about self-esteem, a lot of times these kids turn to, like we talked about, the social media, but then guess what happens? They fall prey to these crazy wackadoos out there that are like trying to tell them that they're whatever, pretty or smart, and all this stuff, and then they fall prey to and victim to these crazy people that are out there. So by building their self-esteem, they're not going to turn to those crazy wacko people out there that they need attention from. So I think that's a really key factor. Like even places like TikTok and stuff, TikTok can be good, TikTok can be bad, and there's some people, just thriving for attention and they're young. And it's like, but if you do something like this and get them to see what they're good at besides luring in bad people, I think that's huge. That's something that's so needed, you know. You can tell when people are thriving for attention. And a lot of it is it's self-esteem. Rejection. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And there's another thing. They're a little bit older, like a friend of mine and I helped out in Roxbury. We taught at this place called Haley's Bakery and Cafe. And they did
Mhm.
a lot of different programs there. They had like Take Back the Kitchen, where they helped out former inmates and things like that, kind of go back into the world. They also had a program. I wasn't part of it, but she was doing it. It was all like foster kids and stuff. They would teach them how to cook. And
Mm.
let me just tell you, by doing that, these kids, I don't know if there was boys or just girls, I can't remember, but her telling me was like they were just so excited to cook because it made them learn what they could be good at and have like some kind of a purpose, instead of going out and causing trouble or whatever. So these this program that you have can lead to things like that, teaching them, different things that they could be good at, maybe doing some curriculum about just cooking, whatever. Um, so the next question is, how can parents and educators use your platforms to support children's physical and emotional well-being?
Well, Paula, that's a great question. What we really want them to do is, of course, I always say parents, educators, grandparents, read the material yourself first to make sure
Mm,
um, that the kids will be valued to them, because
mm,
maybe it's something that may be, not really at their level to comprehend, because we, of course, do no harm. That's not our goal. But our level that we did it on their level, in regards of talking the words. Of course, no bad words. But we want them to first read it and then to really read it with them. uh,
mhm,
because these are dealing with a lot of foundational things, a lot of things that's going on in the world. And you said it's so great, Paula. First of all, they to let them know that they're not alone.
right.
They're not the only one that's going through this or have been through this, or just for the alert that this is happening in the world. So we really want to kind of follow behind. Sam started everything out. We infusing it into the different, of course, churches when they for kids, and then you know the curriculum for schools, and then of course just really in every home, so we can actually help our kids with this, because you want to have a conversation after you read it, so they actually to know that things are, yeah, this is going on, but give them strategies and different ways that they actually can go through it if that's
Mm,
going on, or also to be able to help a fellow friend or somebody like that.
right. Yeah,
Mm.
that's true too. Their friends could be going through stuff. I mean, I went through that. I had a friend that her family was abusive, you know, and how would I know as a kid how to help with that? You know what I mean? Because I didn't grow up in an abusive family. So yeah, that's huge. That I was very uncomfortable, let me tell you. When I go over there and her father was abusive, ooh, I didn't know what to do. Because I'm a kid. I mean, what am I do? Have my parents come get me? Like, I didn't know where to go. So share with us some testimonials from some families, or from the Little Kids Corner or the Champion Series.
Oh, that's a great question. We always do. I think in the business world, some people call it beta testing. Some people call it get that the first 100 people or something like that. But
Yeah,
so first of all, I had let my sister, because she was the kind of the stem of me kind of really starting Sam the Shark, and then so I let her. She was like, "Oh my God, how can you do these amazing things and you don't have kids?" And I said, "Well, of course, God number one." But
right.
she was very excited. And then guess what? She said she even learned some things that when the grandkids come, that she can use. And
Mhm.
then also some of my church members and some of my colleagues that have kids, they have been really one couple. I won't really go into all details, but they actually end up doing family therapy, and I'm like, oh my God. And they kind of keep in touch with me, and they say they living situation. There
Mm,
are things that's going on with their kids and with them has totally changed their whole circumstance. And I'm like, that's what we talking about. We talk about the ripple, that little blue that's
yeah,
in the water. We never know when we are really helping someone, have a better life or have things that actually can help them in this world. Also one that was just recently this week, a couple sent the email to my team, and they said, you know what? My parents were divorced. I mean, literally 10 years ago, and I didn't realize that I still had some feelings inside about that. And so I was able to refer them to someone that's in, I'm a counselor, group counselor, and that type of stuff. But I always like to give people to the place they really need to be.
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and so we were able to help them. So, Paula, this is doing more than I ever could imagine or think in
Yeah.
regards to transforming families.
That's awesome.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, kids, they having a lot of fun looking at the videos, answering things. One lady did say her child, did have to go to summer school, but the grades were in summer school was better than the ones that was in regular school. So I was like, what?
Wow.
Of course, they were doing other things as well, but we were glad we were part of the process as well.
So tell us how many places do you have this curriculum in right now? How many schools?
Well, the Sam the Shark is actually he's in 5 schools now. Three of them are charter. Um,
Okay.
in regards to the champion, we're actually going back to those same people where
Right, right.
as we speak, and they're excited about it as well. I did, earlier I did say, I was born in Birmingham, so we're actually in conversation with the Birmingham City School System. So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
gonna continue to be open because our kids need us, our families. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really, we need to, the old, I forgot who said that, but it does take the village. It does take all of us
Yes.
helping out. And I really, Paula, my prayer was, especially with, everything we went through in, 20, I said, Lord, how can I really help the families? Because I didn't realize, I know this is a whole conversation, different conversation, that so many people didn't have access to internet. And I'm like, because and then grateful here in Atlanta, the cable companies, internet companies stepped up and allowed, the neighborhoods to have, for free. And so
Mm-hmm.
we need to be able to be that voice to help out
Mm-hmm.
and not want anything in return. Because that just the world that loves that, but I just really want to be able to help.
Mm. Yep. So yeah, so if you're a school, an educator, parent, whatever, we'll give you Dr. Renee's information in a minute. But yeah, like I said, I am really excited about this program for you, for the world, for the kids. It's so needed. And I think just even being on this show, I think your wheels are spinning on what things you can even add to the curriculum, and that's why I do it. That's why I do it. I wouldn't, if you started something tomorrow and said, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," I wouldn't even. I'd be like, it's all God." I wouldn't be like, "Oh, she got that idea from me." No, it's all God.
That's right.
I'm
That's right.
glad. I'm glad he's given us these ideas. I'm glad he's putting it in the curriculum. And if you're out there, don't ever think like that. If people are taking your ideas or whatever, it's all God.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
there's so many of us, and yeah, I don't want to get on that tidbit, but yeah, no, it's all God. He's given us ideas and how you can make this program even more, how it can expand, how it can be better. It's all God. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Like myself, I suffered from multiple food allergies. How many
Mm-hmm.
kids do you think in the schools probably have allergies? You could have a
Mm-hmm.
whole section just on that alone.
Mm-hmm. That's
How do
important.
I, as the kid of the allergies, how do I cope with that? I'm sure they get picked on.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they don't get picked on. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure kids understand it a little bit better today because it can be
Mm-hmm.
severe. But still, I bet
Mm-hmm.
like if a kid says, "Oh, I don't know, I can't sit at the table with you," you might have something I'm allergic to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't think they're going to get picked on.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. And
I'm
that's
not
even with the
exactly what they would do.
asthma and kids that have to take medications during the day. I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't have a nurse at the we didn't have
Yep.
a nurse at the school, which I'm grateful we do have medical teams there. But that's going right along with the allergies. Yeah.
Let's talk about asthma. This is a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. That's another reason I got bullied. I had asthma.
Wow.
So I my doctor allowed me to skip gym class for a couple of years, gave me a note. Because I couldn't run, and they only had liquid medicine back then, no inhalers. And so if I had an attack, I was out. I couldn't breathe. Like nothing was going to help me. So I didn't run much in gym class. Like I would try to do little things like um, in soccer, I would just play defense. I didn't have to run the whole field.
Oh,
Or like if they made you run around the court twice, I'd go into the locker room. Whenever I had to run extensively, I'd skip it. Well, all of a sudden, one teacher just out of the blue didn't know that there was a note somewhere, calls my mother and it's like, your daughter's skipping gym. And because my mother believes it, she doesn't remember the note either. So now they're trying to make me run up, and I kid you not, see the like waterfall behind me? We had a hill like that. Trying to make me run up this stupid hill at the school. I think it was like sixth or seventh grade. I couldn't do it. I'm like walking, I'm heavy breathing. I'm like, I'm gonna die. So I was one of those kids that got bullied for the asthma because I couldn't breathe. They would make fun of me because of the wheezing. They'd make fun of me because I was always the last one to finish a race, or like we were playing basketball. I just couldn't run the whole court. Whatever, you know what I mean? I would have an asthma attack. So, and now thankfully there are a lot more medicines, but there's also a lot of kids out there with severe asthma. Some of those medications don't work for them. I worked with a woman, not as a client, but I worked in a jail. She had a son who had severe asthma. She used to get calls. He was almost dead. He'd have really bad asthma attacks. Yeah. I don't know what was causing it. I don't know what did it, but she'd be called out. She'd have to go to the hospital for this kid, you know?
wow.
Yeah. So those are things that I think of. So like kids get picked on for having allergies. Kids get picked on for having asthma. So I hope those are some things that you can put in your curriculum that they can have some kind of a lighthearted something to look at, a coloring book or whatever,
Yes,
video,
that's
both, maybe
good.
both. Some
Uh-huh.
kind of a little series to throw in there that, hey, there's other kids like me and this is what so I think it's getting a little bit more and more common, so it's a little easier for other kids to
Right.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, kids are kids. They're still gonna pick on people, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So yeah, so that's something else that I could definitely see in your curriculum. So you and I will probably wind up talking because I mean, well, I've thought about something like this for myself a while back, but I mean, who's to say we couldn't just throw something together, be more powerful? You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so throw some ideas together and get it out there. Um, but yeah, so we have about, let's see, a little bit over 5 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
So tell people a little bit more about this. Like, so say a school or an educator wants to get involved. What exactly does that mean? What would they get? Tell us
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more about this.
Oh, great, Paula. Great question. Well, first to reach out, I mean, they can, if they, because as a business person, you always kind of want to know who's the person behind it. That's what most people, and especially when they're dealing with kids, you got to be careful.
Right.
So a lot of people, they reach out to us, our website or even on social media, and then they have a conversation with well, we send them literature first and let them know. It's kind of like what we've had a conversation with today. And then we schedule an appointment that I myself personally have a conversation with them over the phone, in person, or even on Zoom or any other platform similar. And then we just express to them our why we doing
Mhm.
it, how does it look, what material they would get, and what follow-up. And if they need assistance, we do have people on our team that can actually come out to the facility to actually do it. Now we have had a couple of corporations reach out, and they want to actually even license it, and I'm like, wow, okay. So we're actually we have it together. So we're actually having a little town, kind of like a town meeting with their powers of bees to kind of institute
Mm,
that. And I thought that was very powerful because all the people work there, of course, are adults, and so, but they want mental health. If the adult is right, that, we're saying right, we meaning, being empowered, what we mean, because
right,
that right word is not,
right.
I try not to say that. So it's interesting why that came out. But we want to help them take care of their village, meaning take care of their families, take care of their grandkids and stuff like that. So I was very honored, number one, and number two, that a corporation thought that well about the family. I mean, we hear that all the time with some,
Mm,
Chick-fil-A and stuff like that. But, just companies that's very interested in well-being, interested in health, interested in really our mental side in regards of how we're taking care of ourselves and also taking care of our family. So that's kind of interesting. So we give them all the tools and the resources they need. And if they think that, if they feel that they need something else, I don't have any problems of creating that or, opening up that space that we can actually give them what they need, that they can really have this as a great resource for their employees, for their, of course, their
right.
kids, the church members, or whatever that it needs to be.
Now, do you have a website?
Yes, the
But
main website for me to learn more about me is reneesunday.com.
okay.
We do have an email associated with that, which is info@reneesunday.com. So that's kind of
Mhm.
easy.
Right.
For the videos on our social media, not social media, but YouTube, which is social media, is riddlekidscorner.com. And again, that is riddle um, kids with a S corner.com. And for the champion series, that's on our website as well, reneesunday.com. And Sam
Awesome.
the Shark has his own, because he had to get trademarked and everything. He has
Oh my.
his own stuff, and which is Sam the Shark Journey.com. I know that's kind of long, but someone
Mm-hmm.
else, Sam the Shark Journey.com.
I just had a thought. I was just thinking, so there's this guy that lives in my condo complex here. He's
Mhm.
got two kids and he's also a dentist. So I was just thinking, like, being a dentist, he's not only like he's a traveling dentist too, like he
Oh,
goes to
wow.
different offices. I was just thinking, like, maybe he would either talk about it or advertise it in his dental office. Think about,
Oh, that'll
because
be
he does
great.
kids. It's for, yeah, he's a dentist for kids.
Oh, that'll
So
be great. We can have a
I was just
conversation
thinking
with
of like his
Paula.
two little ones. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet if he like either talked about it or had some kind of flyers in those, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
People would be like all over that. I don't,
Yeah.
something just hit me about that. Like I said, it's all God.
We actually do have that with Sam the Sharp, but you made me think we need to have that for all three of the brands. We
Hmm.
well, locally we actually go out to the different dental places, and we have these stickers that's with Sam the Shark, and we give the kids a certificate saying that they actually was as a wonderful person and stuff like that. And that, kids love, well, all of us love gifts, but we
Right,
want to be able to give gifts. But you made me think, they actually need to be across the board for all our platforms.
right. Yeah. Dentist
Paula.
office. That's dentist and doctor's office that do, the pediatrician, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just was thinking about him. Like he's got two little ones and he, treats little kids. And I'm like, yeah, that would probably be, he could not, talk about it or like you said, maybe have something to strike the conversation. Not just
Mhm.
have a flyer in the office, but like you said, give the kid a sticker or something and have the website on there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, it's all God. He's just giving me
Wow, thank you.
it's all God. But we've only got about 1 minute left. So I just wanted to say thank you for being on tonight. I've learned so much from you about this program. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I think it's going to be knowing you and the way you are, like, you were top 100 already in another field, you're a go-getter. You're what's the word I want? Unstoppable. I don't know.
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
Oh, no, you are. You're very just out. I don't know what the word is. I can't think of a word, but you just keep, you go all out. That's what I want to say. You go
Yes,
all
yes.
out, and that's why I know this will be top notch because you go all out. And you're not willy-nilly with anything. So, so that's why I know it'll be top notch, and I'm excited for it. The world needs it. The kids need it. There's so much more coming down the line in this world that we don't even know exactly. So we're going to need all the help we can get, especially with the kids, because they just don't understand what's happening. And they may not feel like life's worth even living with the way things are going.
Right.
So we need to
Oh,
keep them
Lord.
going and let them know they have purpose and all of that, and give them self-esteem. So I want to thank you again for being on. I want to remind everybody again, I'm looking for sponsors for the show. I'm looking for guests for the show. Make sure you give an Elevation TV network some love. Go over to their Facebook page, their YouTube page. Just like, subscribe. They've got some great guests on there. We're on every Sunday, so 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I just want to thank the replayers. I want to thank everybody for being on. And if you need recipes, please reach out to me. Once again, info@enrichyourhealth.com. And that is with an ENRICHURHEALTH.com. You can text me 508-330-9665 or Instagram or Facebook Messenger. You can get me at any one of those places. And you can just follow my social media. I've got recipes that I'm working on. I'm excited about getting new recipes out there. Yes, I'm getting those out there. I can't wait. So if there's any types of recipes that you're looking for, reach out to me for that too, because I can't always guess what people need. So let me know if there's something you're looking for. We can work on that too, and I can do customized recipes. So thank you again, everybody. We will see you next Sunday.